Hi, I'm Sahar,
And I'm Shreya. Welcome to our show, Only Spoilers.
where I tell Shreya about a book that I've read or a movie that I've watched. In today's episode, I'm going to finish talking about Verity by Colleen Hoover. Are you going to read it, Shreya?
Definitely not.
So let me tell you all about it.
Okay, so we're continuing Verity.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last episode, we started the story with Lowen, and then she moves into this house with Jeremy and Verity because now she has to write a book, co-author with Verity. Verity is paralyzed. She has a kid, a son who's running around, but two of her other kids, like the twin daughters, are dead.
Yeah.
They're dead. Mm-hmm. And right now, Lowen is obsessed with this autobiography manuscript that Verity has written about her life and how obsessed she is with Jeremy and how she would do anything for him and wants to be his focal point at all times.
Yeah.
And while Lowen is supposed to be focused on, what she signed up for, which is writing the book, she is reading Verity's whole life. And she's obsessed. And while this is happening, their son, Jeremy and Verity's son, is waving into a window, into Verity's window, even though Verity's supposed to be paralyzed.
Yeah.
So who is he waving to? Second, Lowen has a sleepwalking problem.
Yeah.
And one of the nights when she was in her room, she heard someone walking, just lightly tiptoeing around.
Yeah.
Who is that? We don't know.
So, moving on from just what, Lowen read of Verity trying to murder Harper. And then Verity being in the fear of, what if Jeremy saw her do it from the baby monitor, right? But then he doesn't say it or anything comes up. But then Lowen, while she's reading this, there's a knock on the office door, and Jeremy's like, oh, it's late, you come have dinner. And she's like, oh, I didn't realize that. And he's like, oh, I made tacos and margarita, and there's a meteor shower tonight, so stop working and let's go eat. And Lowen is very happy because tacos are her favorite, and she knows that he made it for her because she mentioned it a few days ago. So she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna...
If Verity's awake right now, she is rolling.
Oh my God.
If she's listening to all of this right now, she already has a plan in her head. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So Jeremy and Lowen are outside in the backyard looking at the meteor shower, and Lowen decides to ask Jeremy about Verity, and she's like, oh, or just general questions about him and Verity, right? She's like, oh, do you have any siblings or parents or anything? And Jeremy's like, I lost my mom when I was a teenager, or I lost my dad when I was a teenager, and I lost my mom 3 years ago. I don't have any siblings. And then she asks about Verity's family, and then Jeremy's like, she still has parents, but they've been estranged. And she's like, for how long? And he's like, oh, let me see, I met her 13 years ago, so 13 since that time. So she's like, oh, should Verity doesn't talk to her parents, or do they not know what condition she is in? And Jeremy is like, her parents are very religious, and they never liked how Verity lived her life. And then when they found out that the kinds of books she is writing, they completely disowned her. And when I called them to tell them about the death of Harper and what happened to Verity, Verity's father said to Jeremy that, maybe she deserved it. This is the karma for her straying away from our religion and writing books like that.
Oh my God.
And Lowen is like, what the fuck?
That's so fucked up.
Exactly. And then she asks him again, why did you never read any of Verity's books? He's like, because again, he says the same thing, I didn't like seeing the part of her brain that the characters came out of, and she would always get angry at me that I never read her books, but I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to know those parts of her head, so Lowen is like, fine, I understand all of that. And then he confesses that Verity actually never read Lowen's books. it was Jeremy who had read Lowen's books, and he's the one who told the publishers that you should hire Lowen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And Lowen is very happy knowing this because she thinks like, oh, maybe he also likes me.
This girl.
Because she is now thinking like, you know, he's such a good man, he's so loving, he takes care of his child, he doesn't deserve this. What if, you know, Verity was a bad wife? He deserves to be loved, and I should be the one. So oh my god.
If this was a video right now,
Yeah.
oh my god, this girl.
Yeah. And in the next chapter of her autobiography, Verity writes that so she's writing it from the point where the twins are 3 years old, and she loves Chasten, but she always is very, you know, dismissive of Harper, and she always talks about Chasten is now potty trained, she is so good, she's bubbly, and this and this. And then once the twins were 3 years old, Verity was earning so well that in comparison to her paychecks, Jeremy's paychecks looked cute. So he's like, you know, Verity wanted him to stay home with the kids, but he's like, I can't just stay home with the kids. I still need to work because, you know, I need to be occupied with something. So he kept working, and they bought this huge house, and it was so far away from like cities and stuff. Like Verity was having having trouble getting nannies, but she's like, now I can afford nannies, so I'll just have like, you know, a stay at home. Or like she was ready to hire a nanny. But then Jeremy didn't want to. So one day, Verity decides to just send the twins to daycare. But then Jeremy is upset about it.
Where does she need to go during the day?
She just needs to write.
Oh, okay.
So she needs time to write and not to spend that time looking after the twins because they're too much work.
Oh.
So she's like, I can't run around them anymore. I need to keep writing my books because, you know, I actually make the money in this house. If you want, you stay home and take care of them.
Oh my god.
But she decides to enroll them in a daycare. Jeremy is upset about it because now at this point they have discovered that Chasten has a severe peanut allergy, and he's very paranoid that, you know, other people will not be careful around it, and like, what if something happens to her, somebody at the daycare does something. And Verity is always talking about how Chasten did this and this and this, and Jeremy's upset about it. He's like, you think I don't notice it, but I know that, you know, you favor Chasten more than Harper. You should love both your kids equally. Harper, even though she's not like you, not bubbly and outgoing, doesn't mean she doesn't deserve your love. And then Verity's like, oh my god, I fucked up. Like, he knows. So she's now backtracking. She's like, no, it's not like that. I only tell you about Chasten because she's the older one. Like, she does things first. And like, you know, Harper doesn't even express her emotions. She doesn't like me hugging her and this and this. And then she says, you know, somebody at the daycare said maybe Harper is on the spectrum, autistic spectrum. So we should get her, like, you know, diagnosed. So we are more equipped. Or like, we should also get some help and go into therapy. So we are also better equipped to, you know, catering to her needs, like what an autistic child needs. And Jeremy's like, okay, fine. And then he's fine with, you know, the kids going to daycare. And then after 2 weeks of living at the house, like Lowen has been at the house for 2 weeks. She's been reading everything and like, you know, all of that's been happening. She's finally done with an outline for the 7th book that she's supposed to send in. And then after that, she sent it into the editor's office, and she's just waiting for them to get back to her with the notes. And now she has like a writer's block. She's like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to read Verity's autobiography anymore. She's just sitting watching TV, and then she's waiting for Jeremy to come and like, you know, spend time with her. She keeps looking at the staircase and like, you know, maybe he'll notice that she's just sitting and watching TV and come sit by her, and he does. he's done with taking care of crew and Verity and everything, he's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just tired, I'm just watching TV and everything. And then he's like, so tell me about yourself, like, have you ever been married, do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, no, I came close to marrying twice, but it never happened. And then he's like, no serious relationship? She's like, no, I'm not that kind of a person. And like, and then it turns out the next day is Lowen's birthday. And he's like, oh, why didn't you tell me? And then he goes in and he's like, I'm going to bake you a cake. So he goes into the kitchen, bakes a cake for Lowen from scratch. And then he brings it out to her, sings happy birthday and everything. And she's very happy. And then they start making out on the couch.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Lowen
and Jeremy. Lowen is very happy. She's like, oh my God,
of course she's
dream
happy.
is coming true.
Of course she's happy.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. And then, so the way she's lying on the sofa with Jeremy on top of her, she has a clear view of the staircase going upstairs.
Oh.
And then she looks
shadow?
up and she sees Verity standing.
Oh my God.
At the top of the stairs.
Shut up. I'm so scared. I'm so scared right now. I swear if they make this into a movie, I'm never watching it. The visual I have in my head is not, oh God, okay. And yeah. She's just standing there?
She's just standing there looking at them and she's angry and she's like,
she has a knife?
No, she doesn't have a knife,
okay.
But like she curls her hand in a fist because of the anger. And then Lowen is like, Jeremy, Verity. He's like, what? Verity. And then by the time Verity runs, she's gone. And then Jeremy's like, what do you mean? What are you saying? He's like, I saw her standing on the top of the staircase. Can she be faking her injury? And he's like, no, that's not possible. The doctors did all their scans. Her injury is irreplaceable. Like, are you sure? And then they both run upstairs to her room and everything. And then she's in her bed, how the nurse left her under the blankets, like, still sleeping and everything. And then Lowen is gaslighting herself. She's like, maybe I'm losing my mind. I don't know, but I swear I saw her. And then she is freaking out. But then next morning, she's doubting herself. She's like, maybe I didn't see her.
Maybe it was like my guilty conscience.
Yeah, maybe it was my guilty conscience. But the next day, Jeremy has put a lock outside Verity's bedroom door so that, Lowen feels safe. He's like, I lock the door every night so you don't have to be worried that, of like Verity walking around, even though he knows Verity cannot walk around. But he's like, for your peace of mind, I will do this.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So so now back to Verity's autobiography. This is the chapter where now Crew is born. The twins are 8 or 9 years old, and Verity is in the kitchen making dinner, and then Jeremy gets a phone call, and then he screams and he's like, what? No, where is she? This can't be happening. And then she realizes that he's talking about that something has happened to Chasten, and she is so upset that she throws up. And then they run to the hospital, and it turns out Chasten and Harper were at a sleepover. And it's not the first time that they've gone to this friend's house, right? The other girl's mother is aware of Chasten's allergy and everything, but the mother kept saying to Jeremy and Verity, like, I went to wake up the kids, and like Chasten wouldn't wake up. She wouldn't wake up. So when they go to the hospital, Chasten is dead.
Oh my God.
She died of an acute peanut allergy.
What?
And then Jeremy is just like, how the hell did she, come in contact with peanuts? And then they ask Harper what happened. And Harper is like, oh, we all went to bed. And then the whole time, Verity is thinking she's done it. Harper has killed Chasten.
Yeah.
She's 100% sure that Harper has something to do with Chasten's death.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're asking Harper what happened. They're like, oh, we all went to bed, but we got hungry, so we sneaked out and got snacks. We didn't know if there were any peanuts in it or not. there were clearly peanuts in it, and Chasten ate whatever they were snacking on, and she died of a peanut allergy.
Oh my god.
And then Jeremy is just like devastated. Verity is also devastated because that's a twin she actually loved.
Yeah.
Right? Even though
yeah.
whatever, like she tried to kill them, she had a scar on her face, but Chasten is the one.
Did Harper
she
actually do
loved.
it?
No.
On like by mistake? She did it by mistake.
She didn't do anything. Like
okay.
it was all the kids who were having snacks, but it was the kids' fault. Like you don't sneak
Yeah.
into food that you don't know what is in, right? They're
Yeah.
kids, but
Still.
बेचारे बच्चों को क्या पता?
Yeah.
So I just said that in Hindi.
Oh, it's okay.
But Verity is convinced. She's convinced that Harper had something to do with it, right? And then a few months later, or like, then this happens. Like she ends the chapter here that Verity is convinced that Harper killed Chasten. Then Lowen is like, she keeps working on her manuscript. Her attraction towards Jeremy is like, increasing and everything. And then one night, they finally end up having sex.
Shut up.
Because he is just like, he can't stay away from Lowen anymore. He's like, I have imagined doing this with you for so long.
Jeremy saying this to Lowen?
Jeremy
Are you
saying this
Colleen?
to Lowen?
Colleen Hoover.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And she's probably into it because she's like, she's read the whole like autobiography. Yeah. She knows what he likes and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's probably gonna be obsessed with her now. Like, oh my god, like,
yeah. And then the one thing I didn't tell you about, the bedroom that Lowen is staying in is actually Jeremy and Verity's master bedroom.
Oh.
But then because Verity's hospital bed and everything is upstairs, Crew's bedroom is upstairs, and he also stays upstairs in the guest room, so they are all together. But Lowen is actually staying in their bedroom, and the headboard of the bed has like bite marks on it from Verity, from all the the adventurous sex they were having.
The headboard
has bite marks on it. And then the first time that Lowen and Jeremy have sex, Lowen actually bites the same place that Verity had bitten, because she has this need of replacing Verity in Jeremy's life. She's like, she was so turned on, but also jealous of all the bite marks she had seen. The first day she was in that house, she saw it, and she's like, oh my god, like she couldn't even imagine that kind of sex, somebody having that sex, because she has never had that kind of sex. And then when she actually is sleeping with Jeremy, she bites the same mark that Verity is. And then in her head, she's so happy. She's like, I'm going to bite it harder and leave my mark and like erase hers and all of that.
What the fuck?
You can say it.
Ew! What? Oh my god. Is he has a type. Psycho bitches.
Yeah.
Psycho bitches. Yeah. I'll say it. Jeremy loves psycho bitches. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad she had the time of her life.
Yeah, she did. And then Jeremy didn't intend to fall asleep, but they end up falling asleep. But then he wakes up at like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Did he lock Verity already?
So let me
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Go.
So when he wakes up, he's trying to leave the room. He finds out that the room is locked from outside.
Oh my god.
So Lowen and Jeremy are now locked inside Lowen's room, and they're like he's trying to bang at the door, and like maybe he thought Crew did it, and he's trying to wake up Crew, and it's like, open the door, but nothing happens because the child is sleeping upstairs. And then they're freaking out because if the nurse comes into the house, she's going to find out that these two are together, and they don't want the nurse to know that they're hooking up. So Jeremy breaks the bedroom window and goes out through the window, comes in through whichever door was left open, and then he opens Lowen's bedroom door, and Lowen is freaking out. She's like, what if Verity did it? And then he's like, and then she asks him, like, did you lock her bedroom door? He's like, I don't remember. So they both go upstairs to Verity. And then Lowen says, what if Crew is not here anymore? What if Verity left with Crew? because I think she's faking her whole injury, and then I think she wants to leave with your son. So they both run upstairs to check if Verity and Crew are still there. They're still there. Verity is asleep, Crew is asleep, and
my God.
Lowen apologizes. She's like, "Oh my God!"
But is the door locked or unlocked?
No, it was unlocked.
It was unlocked.
It was unlocked. He didn't lock it.
Oh my God!
And then
stupid guy.
Yeah, his lust took over his.
He's thinking with his other organ, not his brain.
No.
Oh my God! I'm so stressed out.
So nothing happened. They both feel guilty, and they're like, we'll just be careful from now on. But they don't stop.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was like, of course they're not gonna stop.
They're not stopping.
They're just gonna do multi-protection.
Yeah.
Lock Verity's door, and then
exactly
lock her door because she sleepwalks.
Yeah.
So, and also, is he not concerned about that? Like him sleeping next to Lowen, knowing that
he never intended to sleep next to Lowen. He just wanted to have sex and leave, so that if Crew were to wake up in the middle of the night and come to Jeremy's room, he would still be there. But he accidentally fell asleep.
Okay, fine. But like the other times that
he still doesn't. He's still not gonna sleep in Lowen's bed. He will just have sex here and then go sleep in his own bed.
Classy. So classy.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I want to bite something. I'm so frustrated.
Oh my God. Okay. So now Lowen is reading, so Lowen goes back to reading the manuscript. She skims through some episodes of their mundane life, them having sex regularly, her being successful and everything. Then she comes to the chapter where it says, the day that Verity has described is 6 months to the day it has been to Chasten's death.
Oh.
So this is the 6-month anniversary of Chasten's death. And Harper and Crew are sitting at the dining table, coloring and playing with each other. They're laughing and everything. Jeremy hasn't had sex with Verity for 6 months because he's so guilt-ridden, or he's so in grief, not guilt. He's grieving the loss of his child, and so is Verity. But she's like, if we don't do this, our whole relationship is just sex. So if you stop having sex with me, we're gonna fall apart. And she's obsessed with it. But Jeremy is like, you also need time to grieve. Take your time. It's fine. You don't have to please me or anything. And then she hears Harper laughing with Crew, and she gets angry. She's like, how can you laugh right now? Do you not realize that your sister is dead? Do you not realize what we are going through? You haven't cried a single day for your sister's loss. Do you even miss her? And Harper is shocked. She's petrified of Verity, and she's like, of course I miss her. I miss her. But then Verity's like, why don't you show it then? How can you be, playing around with your brother? He also lost a sister. And then Harper runs away upstairs crying because she's upset that her mother has screamed at her. And then Jeremy is like, what happened? Why are you crying? And Harper doesn't tell her anything. And then Verity is like, she just misses her sister. Oh, no. She says that, she wanted to go out on the lake, but I said no. So that's why she's upset. She blatantly lied to Jeremy about why Harper is crying. And then Jeremy is like, I think it is a good idea. I think you need to, go play with the kids, spend time with them a little bit. You haven't written in 6 months. You haven't really done anything, spend time with the kids. Go take them out on the lake. And then she's like, where are you going? He's like, I told you in the morning, I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'll be back in half an hour. Go spend time with the kids. She's like, no, you play with them. I'll do the grocery shopping. I know Harper prefers you over me. He's like, no, none of that. I'm going. Go spend time with the children. So Crew, so she brings both the children to the lake, and then she's just imagining, what if the canoe were to tip over? What if Harper were to just drown?
Ugh.
What if the grief that Jeremy feels right now is all the grief he could ever feel? And if Harper were also to be gone, it would just be the three of us, me, Jeremy, and Crew. And Crew is such a easy baby. Our life is going to be, better. I would not have to look at Harper every day, who killed my daughter, because she still thinks Harper is responsible for Chasten's death. So Verity puts Crew and Harper in a canoe and then takes them out to the middle of the lake. And then she tells Crew, hold your breath, and she tips the canoe, and they all fall into the lake. And when she surfaces, she realizes that Harper, is struggling, and then she only takes hold of Crew and swims him to the shore. And then he's crying. He's like, please save Harper. She doesn't know how to swim. And Verity's like, it's fine. I'll save him first, but I need to save you. But she has no intention of saving Harper. She swims Crew to the shore, and she realizes how heavy he is. She's like, oh my God, this child was almost killed me too, because I didn't realize how taxing it would be to swim back to the shore. And she also didn't realize how far she had come from the shore. So she barely, surviving the rescue, takes Crew to the shore, and Crew is crying like, Harper, Harper, please mom, save her. And Verity has no intention of saving Harper. But then she realizes, oh shit, what if Jeremy comes home and like he sees this? I need to be acting to save Harper, and I need him to know that, I tried everything. So she tells Crew, go into the house, call daddy, and tell him that mommy is trying to save Harper from drowning. So Crew runs into the house. Verity swims back to the middle of the lake where the canoe is, and she realizes, oh, when the canoe turns over, there's like an air pocket where you can, stay above water and breathe. What if Harper
is
there? And if she's not dead, she's gonna tell her dad that I tried to kill her. So she goes under the canoe to make sure that Harper isn't there, and she isn't there. So she's like, oh my God, thank God, what a relief that she's actually dead. And then she's,
oh my God.
Okay. Yeah, she has no intention of saving Harper. Her plan is working. She wants Harper dead. So she's now acting like, oh my God, Harper, somebody help, help. And then Jeremy is finally home, and then he sees what is happening, and then she sees the look on his face, and she realizes she fucked up, because she was banking on the fact that he's not gonna grieve this death also, because he's already grieving so much. But then he is devastated. He is angry at Verity about what happened, because he's like, what the actual fuck, right? How could you do this? How could you put our kids in danger? And then the ambulance comes, they fish out Harper's body. She drowned because she got tangled up in a fish net that was under the surface of the lake, which nobody knew about. And then they take her to the hospital. She's pronounced dead. And they're all asked questions, like, they ask Crew what happened, they ask Verity what happened, and then they're like, why were the kids not wearing life vests? And she's like, oh, because I've been to the lake so many times, and I didn't realize that it was that deep so quickly. I thought we were going to stay in the shallow part. And then that night when they come home, they're all like, Crew, Jeremy, and Verity, they're all in the same bed, because like, a tragedy has happened, and Crew is sleeping, and Jeremy is like, why did Crew say that you asked him to hold his breath? And Verity's like, fuck, I'm gonna, Jeremy knows now that I had something to do. I'm fucked. And she's like, no, I didn't tell him to do it beforehand. I told him in the heat of the moment, like when I realized what was happening, because Harper tipped the boat, because like, she was standing. She's the reason that, the boat was tipping over. So in that moment, I asked Crew to hold his breath, but it happened so fast. It's not my fault. But in that moment, she realizes that Jeremy doesn't trust her anymore. And then she says that maybe, and then she says that she realizes that he's lost her, that she's lost him forever. And then she realizes, maybe, this is how my story will end. Maybe Jeremy will end my story because he thinks I killed his daughter. Or maybe, we'll survive this. The next day he'll wake up and forgive me. Or maybe I'll just drive my car into a tree in the end. And then Lowen reads this, and she's like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
So she's like, so she definitely killed Harper, but did she also drive her car into the tree? Because that's how she got into her accident, right? And then Lowen is all confused, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. She throws up after reading this. Harper was murdered by Verity, she just doesn't know what to do anymore. And then oh, also that night before Lowen reads this last chapter, Lowen and Crew are in the kitchen, and he's eating peanut butter from a butter knife out of the jar, and she asks Crew about Harper, or like what happened between Harper and Verity, and what happened in the lake, right? And then Crew was like, Mommy told me not to talk to you about her. And then Lowen is like, what? What did he say? What does Mommy talk to you? And then Crew doesn't say anything. And she's like, please, Crew, tell me, like, what does Verity talk to you? And then instead of answering her, Crew just bites down on the knife, and then he cuts himself. So he's bleeding. And
Why?
then
He's holding a knife?
He's holding a butter knife, but like he bites into it.
Oh.
So he's bleeding. Lowen calls for Jeremy, and then he runs into the kitchen and realizes that Crew needs stitches, so he takes him to the hospital. And then that's when Lowen reads this last chapter and realizes that how actually Harper died was Verity's fault. So when Jeremy brings back Crew from the hospital, he has like 6 stitches in his mouth. He puts him back to bed and everything. And then so the moment she finishes reading this chapter is the moment Jeremy comes back home. And then she is so angry, she runs upstairs to Verity's room, and then she's screaming at her. She's like, what did you do to your child? Stop acting, stop. Just, I know what you did. I've read the book. Just give up your act. I know everything. And Jeremy's freaking out. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? This is it. I've had enough of this. Leave my house right now. I cannot deal with this anymore. My son is losing his mind. I need to take care of my wife. He asks Lowen to leave right now. He starts packing her bag and everything. And she's like, no, you have to trust me. You are in danger. Your wife is lying. And then she gives the manuscript to Jeremy. She's like, read this, and then decide if you still want me to leave and who you trust. So she leaves him in the in Verity's office. He reads the whole thing, how much ever time he takes. Lowen is in her bedroom. She's like, I don't know what's going to happen, if he's going to believe me or Verity, if I have to leave. And then if they have to leave, or if she has to leave or not. And then she hears him go up to Verity's room. And also, my God, so many details.
Oh my God.
Okay. While all of this is happening, like while Jeremy is in the hospital with Crew, because Lowen is alone in the house with Verity, she's scared, right? What if Verity decides to do something? Lowen goes into the basement and gets out the old baby monitor that they had, and she puts it in front of Verity's bed and locks her room from outside and goes into the study. While she's reading the last chapter, she's also keeping an eye on if Verity is moving or not, right? But the moment Jeremy comes into the house bringing back Crew, she sees the baby monitor and sees that Verity is out of the bed on her hands and knees on the floor doing something, and that's when she loses her shit. Lowen's runs upstairs, but Verity in the meantime might have realized that somebody is coming upstairs or whatever. Lowen runs upstairs to the room, but Verity is not on the floor. She's in her bed sleeping, and like nothing happened. And that's when she started freaking out, and Jeremy's like, I've had enough, like you are lying. And because Lowen is like, I saw her on the baby monitor and everything. And then when she gives him the book, he reads it, and then when he hears somebody upstairs, she looks at the baby monitor. Jeremy is standing over Verity's bed and he's talking to her. He's like, I know everything, Verity, give up your act, just end it. But she's still lying there. But then Verity says, I had to do it, Jeremy. So she was acting the whole time. She isn't paralyzed. And then Jeremy is so angry. She's like, what the fuck did you do? You killed our daughter. Because he's just read the manuscript. He's read the whole thing, right? And she's like, no, you have to let me explain. And then he starts choking her. Jeremy starts choking Verity, and then Lowen runs upstairs. She's like, "No, no, don't do that. What are you doing?" And then Verity is thrashing under his pressure because like he's pushing her down on the bed, strangling her. And then Lowen is like, "If you kill her, if you break her windpipe, people are gonna know. Like the police is gonna know that you killed him, and then crew is not gonna have anybody. So please just stop." And then Jeremy looks at Lowen with pleading eyes in the way that help me. So she's like, "Okay, I will help you kill her." So at that by this time, Verity has lost consciousness because she was like, without oxygen for a long time. So Lowen tells Jeremy that make her throw up so that she aspirates on her own puke, and then you can just say that she died in her sleep. So Jeremy actually makes Verity throw up, and then he holds her mouth and her nose so that she can't breathe, and she dies.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay.
And then they both realize what they have done. And then Jeremy is like, "Okay, fine. We need to get our story straight. And then I'll call the police in the morning and just say that, I went upstairs to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up." Like they can see the puke, like maybe she's, aspirated in her sleep. So Verity is dead. 7 months later.
All right.
Okay. Lowen has written the whole book. The day after Verity died, she went back to Manhattan. Um, um, and then she works on the rest of her book, and then she submits it. And then she asks for an extension for the other 2 books because she's about to give birth. Because Lowen is pregnant with Jeremy's child.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So,
wait, what about the book?
The 7th book that
she finished writing it?
So she finished writing it. She sent the first draft to the publishers. She's just waiting for their review, and then they want her to draft the other 2 books also, so they can work on them together, and she doesn't have to keep writing it. But she's like, after the first one, I need some break to start working on the next one because I'll have a newborn and everything. But nobody knows who the baby daddy is, or she's involved with Jeremy. And then after Verity died and everything, Jeremy decided to sell the house, and they're going to move to North Carolina for like a fresh start and everything. And Crew is fine. Like he is back in therapy with all the deaths in the family and all of that, right? He's a 5-year-old boy, but he definitely has trauma, so he's dealing with all of that. And then a few days before they're moving, they go back to the house to finally like to bring back whatever stuff they still have left. So like this is the last time we're going to visit that house, right? And before they're leaving, Crew is like, "Oh, I completely forgot about my stuff in mommy's floor." So he runs upstairs to Verity's room, and then Lowen is like, "What do you mean?" And Crew is like, "Oh, mommy used to hide the paint drawings I made for her in the floor. Like there was like a floorboard that was there was a compartment in the floor where Verity hid her stuff, right?" So Lowen goes with Crew to Verity's bedroom, and she sees what's in that compartment, and there's like an envelope with a letter addressed to Jeremy. So she reads it, right? So Verity writes in this letter, remind you, Verity has been dead for 7 months, right? This is a letter from before. So in this letter, Verity has written that I hope I hope Jeremy is reading this letter, but whoever reads it, this is like an explanation to whatever happened. So she's saying that I hope you find this letter after I have already left with Crew, because and I'm sorry that I had to leave like this. And I don't know if you remember this, but one, like before they had kids and anything, right? Before, when they were still living in New York, um, Jeremy and Verity went on a dinner with Verity's editor, Amanda. This is after the first release of the book. The book has done really well. Verity is very famous. But Verity is like, I know, Jeremy, you would not remember this because you were busy reading somebody else's book on your phone. So you weren't paying attention to our
Lowen's
conversation.
phone?
That's never confirmed, but we can speculate.
Yeah,
I
Lowen's book.
also thought it could have been Lowen's, but it could be anybody else's book that he was reading. And then Amanda is telling Verity that I'm very happy that your first book was successful, but because you are writing from a villain's point of view, you have to actually commit to thinking that way, and people don't really think that way. So there's a way that you can train your mind to do it. There's like a method that a lot of authors who write from villains point of views do. It's called um, antagonistic journaling. So what you can do is, whatever you do in your daily life, write it from a villain's point of view. Like your day-to-day activity, whatever is in your head, don't write it that way. Write it from a negative point of view, and that will help you get into your character's head, because somehow you winged it for the first book, right? But if you're committed to writing this series, you have to actually get really good at writing from a bad person's point of view. So Verity in this letter has written that, I don't know why, Jeremy, you never read any of my books, but I don't know why you had to read my manuscript. And because of that, I am writing this letter to explain to you what happened. Like, what you read in that manuscript is not what I actually thought. That was me trying to perfect my art. That was me using this tool to get into my characters' heads. I didn't think that way. I did not think that, I wanted to abort the kids, or like Harper killed Chastin. None of that. I just wrote it to get into this mindset, and I printed it out so that, I can use it as a teaching tool. And then I think the only mistake I made was writing about Harper's death so soon after her death. And when I saw you read it on my laptop, I wanted to explain it to you, whatever happened, that this is not true. And
what does she mean on her laptop?
She had written everything on her laptop, like the whole manuscript. And
that's how Lowen was reading?
No, but she had also printed it out.
Okay.
But Jeremy actually reads it on her laptop because her laptop was open, and like he happened to pass by it, and then he reads the whole thing, and he thinks it's true, and he gets so angry. He So Verity has this memory of her passing out, that like she remembers Jeremy coming towards her, and then she is on their bed, and like she's unconscious, and like she's coming out of a dizziness, and then the next moment she remembers is she's sitting in her car in the passenger seat. There's duct tape over her mouth, and Jeremy is driving the car. And then she remembers that he has read in the book how she imagined a way of killing Harper by disabling the airbag and hitting the car on a tree, so Harper would die. So he's doing the same thing to her. Like, he's driving her car, she's in the passenger seat without her seatbelt on, and he's going to drive the car into a tree so the airbag doesn't go off and like she gets injured. And that's what actually happened to Verity, because she now is in the hospital and she doesn't remember like a huge chunk of her memory. She remembers waking up in the hospital and everybody is talking around her, and she realizes that right now my husband has tried to kill me twice because of what he read in the manuscript, which he thinks is true. So she is pretending to be not to able to move, and she's just listening for everything, like what's going on around her. And then once she makes a mistake of opening her eyes because she thinks there's nobody in the room, and then Jeremy is standing there, and he sees her open her eyes, and then she sees how angry that makes him, and like he still has that feeling on his face that he wants to kill Verity. So she just pretends to just keep her eyes open, and she's biding her time to so that she can gather enough money and courage to finally leave with Crew. Because if she left with Crew right now, Jeremy could very easily submit the manuscript and say that she's the culprit and the police will come after her. But then the moment she's brought home, she's still in her acting. Like she's writing this, right? She's in the letter. She's like, every night that I've been in the house, I've tried to go into my office and look for the manuscript. You have deleted it from the laptop, but I know there is a physical copy, and I know the moment I leave with crew, you might find it and give it to the police. So I have to find it. But then you brought this other woman into my house who's going to write my books, and then I see you, you know, completely in love with her, and like, you know, you're busy with her. That's when I thought, like, oh my God, I have to leave, because if this man is so easy in replacing me, I don't know what else he can do. So and then she also realizes that Lowen is reading the manuscript, so she's, you know, trying to get it away from her and like destroy it so she can leave with crew, but all her plans fail. And then she's like, I hope that I'm able to leave with crew and destroy the physical copy, and whenever you find this letter, just know that I still love you, and goodbye. And then Lowen reads this, and she realizes that Jeremy actually knew about the manuscript before she gave it to him. So she is just now.
That's what I was like. What do you mean a copy on the laptop?
Yeah.
Because Lowen was reading a physical copy. So he's known about this manuscript since the beginning.
Since the beginning. And then right now, Lowen is like, I don't know what to think. I don't know if Jeremy is lying or if Verity is lying, if I should trust her manuscript or this letter. She is just, oh my God, completely confused. And then she decides to destroy the letter. And then she decides to never let Jeremy find out that anything like this existed. And she just goes into the car and they move to North Carolina.
She moves with him?
Yeah. Because she's too into it, right? She's about to pop out a child with him. But she is choosing to believe the manuscript. She's choosing to believe that whatever Verity wrote in that book is true. And because she knew I had read it, maybe this letter was like her way of covering her track.
Oh my God. I don't know what to believe.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the manuscript is true, or do you think the letter is true?
I don't know.
That's the biggest debate. I've been debating this with Reva for 2 years.
Really?
We talk about it every 6 months. Like, so, you know, what do you think is the truth? Do you believe the manuscript, or do you believe Verity wrote the letter to cover her ass? Or do you think she was... And then she also writes in the letter that you will never understand how a writer's mind works.
But Lowen is a writer.
Yeah.
So...
But Lowen is not that good.
Yeah.
Verity is really good at what she writes. But then how do you separate a person's writing from who they are when they're so convincing?
Yeah, like, I think it is going a little too far when you write about your child's death in the way she did.
Yeah. So that was her way of saying that all those milestone moments in my life, which I have really clear memory of, are the moments I picked to write in that point of view, because they were so easy for me to, you know, separate my happy feelings and then put the negative ones in it. Because she gives him an example in the letter, like, I know you don't remember that night with Amanda, the dinner with Amanda, but let me rewrite it for you in the sense that, oh, there, look at that, my husband sitting there reading somebody else's book when he can't even read my book and not paying attention to me, and he never pays attention to me, but it's fine, I love him, I'll go home, and like, you know, all of this will be fine.
She writes that?
She writes that.
Okay.
As an example of what actually was happening at the dinner, that she didn't care, it's fine, he can read other people's book, I understand why he doesn't like to, and like the writer stuff bores him, so I'll just have my conversation with Amanda. But to write it in an antagonist point of view, she writes it like, you know, he hates me and he would rather read somebody else's writing than mine. Welcome to my life. That is hell after I read this book?
Well, he had Lowen in his mind to cover for Verity. Where does that come in? Like, how does he come up with that? You know, I think that's the biggest like clue. If there's a motive for that, then
motive for what? For him to pick Lowen?
Yeah,
that could be easily be that. Yeah, he was reading Lowen's book. But then why did he pretend that he didn't know anything about the manuscript? Like, why did he take his sweet time reading it when Lowen showed it to her?
Well, I mean, he had to act in front of her, right? That he's reading it for the first time.
Yeah. So Jeremy is also suspicious. Like I knew it. So from Verity's letter, he's already tried to kill her twice. And then he very easily decided that, Verity needs to die. Instead of handing her over to the police with the manuscript that he had in his hand, he decided to end her. I understand it, it's maybe it's like act of passion. Like he was so angry he had to end her.
Well, in the manuscript, she did write like pretty vile stuff about how she would kill her kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, act of passion wise, he would probably want to kill her too.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you do that? You know, like think that way.
But then Verity had written this letter explaining everything before that attempt.
Was the letter dated? Do we know?
Oh, yeah. Verity said she wrote this letter the night she realized that Lowen and Jeremy are having sex, and she locks them in Lowen's room. So Verity was the one who locks the door from outside, so that she's sure that nobody's gonna walk in when she's writing the letter.
Oh. What do you think?
I have no idea. I keep going back and forth. But when I read the book this time, I thought the letter was true. I think Jeremy is
a villain.
Like I believe Verity that she actually wrote the manuscript as a way of helping her writing. I don't think she murdered her children. But when I read it the first time, I was convinced that the letter is just a cover up. But then there's equal evidence for both the cases.
Yeah.
And the worst part is everybody has asked Colleen Hoover, what is the truth? She hasn't replied either. She's like, it's open to your interpretation. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Are you team manuscript or team letter?
She shouldn't say anything because it's a very good discussion topic.
Yeah.
I'm sure in AP literature classes in high school, if they pick up this book, this seminar will go on forever. There'll be a circle of chaos of people discussing. So are you this? There'll be essays written.
And I didn't prepare this part, but if you give me 10 minutes, there's a bonus chapter that she wrote. A little bit. Yeah. I'll tell you that, and then we'll come back to this discussion.
Oh.
Because knowing that information will also change where this discussion goes.
Okay, then let's take a pause.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're back.
Yes. So this is the bonus chapter. Jeremy, Lowen, and crew have now moved to North Carolina, and Lowen has given birth to a baby girl, and they've named her Noah. She is 3 months old, and every single day now, Lowen is comparing her life and her marriage with how it was with Verity. So the way they have sex, the way they talk, the intensity of their relationship, in her head, she's comparing herself to Verity every single moment of her day. And she's psyching herself out. And they are still worried that, what if somebody finds out that whatever happened to Verity somehow is attached to them. So when they moved to North Carolina, Jeremy changed his name, and now they don't go by Crawford because that was his last name. Now he took Lowen's last name, Ashley, and so they're the Ashley family now. And then after Verity died, Jeremy and Lowen stayed separate remain or like stayed away from each other so nobody gets suspicious, and then they have detached themselves from Verity's brand. Like Lowen doesn't talk to anybody about what she's writing anymore or anything, right? They have completely removed themselves from Verity and the Crawford family and everything. So they're living in North Carolina. And then Lowen is like, let's go on a vacation. Let's just go to a warm place, even though they're in fucking North Carolina. I don't know how warmer she wants it to get. But then she's like, we haven't gone out somewhere. Let's go on a beach. So Jeremy's like, okay, fine, we can go to the beach tomorrow. So they all pack up in a car, go to the beach. And then the moment they reach there, Jeremy's like, oh, I have to, like, are you going to be okay with the kids? Go set up the blanket and everything. I'm going to go for a run. And then she's like, didn't you run this morning? He's like, yeah, I just have a lot on my mind. I just need to, sort through it. And then she's worried that, what is happening? Like, why is he's been a little distant? Maybe he's still haunted by what happened, what he did to Verity. And what if we don't survive, something happens to us, like maybe he's running away from me. And then the night before she came to bed, he was reading another woman's book, the second in the series. So again, he doesn't read Verity Lowen's books anymore. He's interested in another author's books. And then Lowen has googled this woman because she keeps seeing her name. She's married, very pretty, very successful. And then Jeremy is reading the second book in this woman's series. And she's jealous of that also because she's like, oh my God, he did that to Verity. What if he does that to me too? Right?
Yeah.
And then, so they're on the beach. Jeremy is running. And then Crew and Lowen has the baby in her hands, and then Crew is playing in the sand, and she hands him a Capri Sun, and then he's like, I don't want it. You guys only buy this for me. I want something, and he throws it in the sand, and uh, Lowen is like, what are you doing? Like, you have to eat something. Fine, we'll buy you something else. And then she, in her mind, she's like, she realizes that she's been struggling with Crew. Like, they don't have a good relationship. And then he is also a little problematic because a few months or like a few weeks before Noah was born, Lowen asks Crew, like, oh, what do you think we should name your new baby sister? He's like, I don't care. She's gonna die anyways, right? Like all my sisters do. And then Lowen is she's like, what the fuck did you just say? And she brings it up with Jeremy. He's like, oh, maybe, he's just traumatized. Like, we should take him back to therapy. A lot has happened and everything. And Lowen is like, okay. And then she's just standing on the beach, and then this Crew is playing in the water a few feet away from her, and then there's this blonde woman who walks by, and Lowen is trying to not make eye contact so in case somebody recognizes her, but the woman recognizes Crew, and she starts talking to Crew, and then they walk towards Lowen, and she's like, oh my God, what the fuck, who is that person, like how did she recognize me? And then this blonde woman comes up to uh Lowen and is like, hi, are you with Crew? And then she's like, hi, do we know you? And like, do I know you? Like, how do you know Crew? She's like, do you not remember me? I met you in the grocery store in Vermont. I'm like Verity's friend. I recognize Crew, but and now I recognize you. So what are you guys doing here? She's like, oh, um, we're just here for vacation. And she's like, is that your baby? And then Lowen is like, yeah. And then Crew is like, yeah, she's my sister. And then this woman is like, she's like, her name is Patricia. So she's like, oh, so that means Jeremy is the father? I didn't know that, you guys were together, or because it's too soon after Verity's death, right? It's only been a year, maybe. Less than that. And then Jeremy comes and sees that, oh shit, somebody's talking to her. And then Patricia's like, hi Jeremy, I didn't know you moved here. And he's like, oh no, we didn't move here, we're only here for for a vacation. And he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, me and my husband, we have a house here, so we're just spending some time in our beach house. I didn't know, you didn't tell me during the funeral that you were going to be a dad again. I guess congratulations are in order. I have been trying to get in touch with you. You completely vanished from Vermont. You sold your house after Verity's death. I just like, how are you guys? They're like, oh, we're fine. And then Jeremy is like, oh, we have to go. And then Crew is like, no, we just got here. I want to stay. He's like, no, no, honey, it's like, getting dark. Let's just pack up and leave. And then they pack up their stuff really quickly and bolt from there. But then Jeremy is like, are you okay? Then he tells Lowen, like, are you okay taking the kids up to the car? I have to do something. I'll be right back. So Lowen takes the kids, gets them situated in the car, puts everything back, and she goes behind Jeremy, like, where did he go? And then he sees him.
She sees him.
Lowen sees Jeremy drowning Patricia in the ocean. He has like his knee over her and like she's thrashing and everything, but nobody's around. So luckily nobody sees it. But Lowen is freaking out. She's like, oh my God, what the fuck is he doing? And she's like, I could save her. I could call 911, but then I would put everybody else in danger. So she just stands there and she freaks out. And then she goes back and sits in the car and she's crying. She's like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? And then Noah is crying and like, she's trying to calm her baby down, and Crew is like, shut up, stop crying. Crew is losing his fucking mind. And then Lowen is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, calm down. She's a baby. She can't control her crying or anything. She needs something. She calms the baby down, calms Crew down. And then Jeremy comes to the car. He's wet, and the Crew is like, why are you wet? What happened? And then Jeremy's like, oh, I fell into the ocean. And then he starts driving away, and then Lowen is crying. She's like, she doesn't even want to ask Jeremy like what happened, why did he do that. And then he holds her hand and he says, we had to do it, we had to protect ourselves. And then in her head Lowen is like, we didn't have to do anything, you did it. You're saying it just the way you say Verity died in her sleep. You just need an accomplice. Like, I understand what happened with Verity was needed to happen, but like with Patricia, you didn't have to kill her. We could have easily denied it. She wouldn't. What if she didn't say anything to anyone? Like, why did you kill that woman? And then Jeremy's like, I did it for our own protection. It's for our family and everything. They go home that night. She makes him take a shower. Lowen is still, really freaked out by what just happened. And then they put Nova to bed, and Crew is just watching TV. They're in the room, and then the whole time she's contemplating that maybe I made a mistake. Maybe Verity didn't deserve to die. Maybe, Jeremy is the problem. And every single second, she's again comparing herself to Verity and then their relationship to Verity. And then she comes out of the room, checks on Nova, and she's not in her crib. And then she freaks out and she runs to Crew. She's like, where is she? Where is Nova? And she's screaming for Jeremy. She's like, she's gone. And then Crew is asked, like, they ask Crew, like, where is your baby sister? He's like, oh, she was crying. I couldn't hear my TV, so I put her outside.
Where outside?
In the lawn, on the grass outside their house. What the fuck? So Lowen is freaked out. She's like, what the fuck? They go pick up the baby. She's crying. She's hysterical. They calm her down. And then Jeremy is like, I don't know what's going on with Crew, but he has PTSD. I don't know. Like, fine, we'll, get him some help. And then this whole time, Lowen is like, I think I've made a mistake, because if I am not his partner, if I start questioning his motives, he's gonna get rid of me as well, because then I am a liability to him. And then she's like, maybe, Verity was right. I shouldn't have gotten into this. That's the end.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's the kid's name? The
Crew.
son? Crew? Where's, like, this can't be all trauma. It has to be learned behavior that he's doing too.
That's what Lowen also thinks, because she's seeing the similarities between his behavior and her dad's behavior. Like, small, how you carry yourself. Like, people say, like, you resemble your parent.
Yeah.
The way he carries himself and everything. She's seeing Crew or like Jeremy in Crew's behavior.
Yeah, because it's not, you wouldn't react to that. I mean, I wouldn't know, but like, you wouldn't react to that because of trauma, but because you've like seen it before. Yeah. Or like, that it's okay. Oh, I'm gonna put my sister outside because she's crying.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe he's also a psychopath.
Yeah.
And Verity wasn't the actual psychopath. Maybe Jeremy is.
I knew it. You know, my gut instinct always knew that this boy was a little bit problematic. I was like, Because, yeah, like, immediately when I was thinking, why is he even at this party?
Yeah.
You know, like, why is he there? Yeah. Okay, I'll go back. I think the letter was right. Only because my gut instinct told me that Jeremy is the problem. And
yeah, reading the book this time and then reading the bonus chapter also makes me think that letter is the truth, that manuscript was not, and Jeremy is the real problem.
Yeah. Jeremy is problematic because, like, why would you sleep with the person writing the book, like, your
exactly,
wife's
if you
book?
love your wife that much. And then once when Lowen asks Jeremy about their relationship, Jeremy says that, you know, even though I loved her, I didn't really feel that connection, that soul connection with Verity ever.
Red flag.
Like, I knew I loved her, I knew she loved me, we were married, we had kids, but I never felt that until I met you.
Ew.
And I was like, oh my God. And then Lowen was very happy hearing this. It's like, oh my God, he finally found a woman who will put him before her own needs, her love for his children before her own love. And that's what she became for him. That's what she thought Jeremy needed. And Lowen became that woman. But Jeremy was still not satisfied.
Sorry, I need to sneeze. No, I can't sneeze anymore. Ew. I'm so frustrated.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, Lowen is stupid. Because, like, don't get yourself pregnant by this man.
She did it on purpose.
She did it on purpose?
Yeah.
Stupid bitch.
She realized that, you know, Jeremy...
When did she conceive again? Like, it was definitely before she read the letter, right?
Yeah. She was already about to pop when she read the letter.
Oh, okay.
That letter was 7 months after
right.
Verity's death. So Lowen was 7 months pregnant at that point.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think the first time they had sex, she got pregnant.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This stupid bitch.
Yeah. That is very.
And she would want to. She would want to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because she wanted to heal him. She wanted to give him another child, and, you know, all his broken love and broken heart. She's like, I'll be the one for you. I'll love you the right way. I'll love your kids the right way. And I'll also give you a child in the process.
This is so sad.
Yeah. But it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Everything in this book is so fucked up.
Yeah. It's a good story. It has me captivated.
But let me ask you this. While you were listening to this, did you think that you already know this story from somewhere?
No.
Or like you've heard or watched something like this before?
Well, my God. I feel like I could picture it very easily. I don't know if it's because, like, I've watched something similar before, or I don't know. Why do you ask?
Because when I read it, I thought, I know this from somewhere. I know this story, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
When Reva read it, she had the same thought. She's like, I know this. And we both tried to, you know, look it up. Maybe somebody had made a show over it, or like a movie, or like an old something.
You know,
it isn't. There's nothing like this out there, but it still gave me such a feeling of familiarity that it freaked me out.
No, I did also get the familiar feeling, even though I didn't know what was going on. Like, once you told me, I was like, wait, of course. Like, but how did I know that?
Right?
How did I know that was going to happen? Right? And then I actually was thinking, I was like, why does it feel like a Bollywood movie? And, like, is there a Bollywood movie that's like this?
Yes, exactly.
You know? Because it's a little similar to something.
Yeah. But what? No idea.
Okay, how do you imagine the house?
Oh.
Do you imagine... Okay, what color is the house?
Gray.
Oh. I imagine a white house.
Oh. Or like, a white house with like gray wall around it, but like it's gray in my head.
Okay. Mine is kind of like the Hum Apke Hai Kaun house.
Okay.
Like the white and then the lawn and everything.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit like that is how I imagined it. Because I'm like, okay, maybe if it's a movie, then we have the same visualization of it.
Yeah.
But the plot did sound a little familiar.
Yeah. But there's nothing like this out there. Nowhere.
Come on, bro.
Because if it were, wouldn't have people already talked about it? Wouldn't Verity would not be how famous it is if it was similar to something else.
Right, but I wonder if like there are people out there who also have a familiar feeling about it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless this is one of those like creepy like backdoor things where all of us have a root to the same subconscious. I love that kind of stuff. Like, you know, we all have some collective memory of something, but like no one can put their finger on it. But somehow Colleen Hoover tapped into that and wrote it down, and we're all like, oh my god.
I know this, but I don't know this.
Yeah, like there are sometimes like in your dreams you go to certain places and everyone is like, oh my god, I've been there before. And it's like, you've been there? You know, that's what this story kind of feels like. It feels like a backdoor situation.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it gives me the chills, honestly.
Mm-hmm. When I read it the first time, I was freaked out. I was living alone.
Yeah. I was freaked out just hearing about it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm freaking hearing that kid cry.
Oh my god, that was creepy.
In the hallway. I was like, what is going on? I'm scared to open the closet door.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very nervous.
Don't worry, we'll go out together.
But oh my god. And I didn't know when I saw the book title Verity, I didn't think that there was going to be a character named Verity. What does Verity mean? I thought it like meant something.
Oh no, that's the thing about Colleen Hoover books. Like her book title is always in the story, but it's such a, you know, you can never predict how it's going to be in the book, in the story.
Yeah. Verity means the truth.
Oh my god. LOL.
It means a true principle or belief, especially one of fundamental importance.
Damn. The irony of that.
Truth and justice.
I never actually looked up the meaning of Verity. It makes sense. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. The truthness and truth.
Damn. The true truthness
and truth.
And truth.
Yeah. There's like a biblical meaning of it too. There's a whole article about who's guilty or innocent.
I'm sure if you go on Reddit, you can read for hours and hours on what people think is the truth and the false.
I'm so excited for that. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, some are saying like realistically all three main characters were the villains.
That's true.
Wait, what were the last 3 books that had to be left to write?
Courage, Truth, and Honor. So she writes Courage, and then she has to write Truth and Honor after Noah is born, and then she's realizing the irony of it all. Like, oh my god, you know, we are living a lie, but I have to write about Truth and Honor.
Do you think Colleen Hoover's gonna come out with another book, like a sequel to this?
No. Everybody has asked her what happens next, and of that she gave us the bonus chapter that fucked everybody all over. But there's nothing else. She's not going to continue the story. There's not going to be any second part, no nothing. It was a standalone book.
Because if truth means Verity, then technically Verity is like the second book. Is the truth book.
Yeah.
And then another could come out called Honor.
Yeah. But then it would have made better sense if Truth was the 7th book. But 7th book is actually Courage. And Truth and Honor are still to be written.
Right, but in this book, in Verity, she's writing the 7th book. But the book itself
is Truth.
Which is called Verity. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if she came out with another book, then it would be something like Candor or something that has to do with honor. But if she's not going to write another one, then that's fine.
She's not going to. Look up when Verity actually came out. It's been a while. This book blew up during the pandemic, but it's been out there for a while.
2018.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's not revisiting it.
What is like the age requirement for this?
I don't know. It should be R-rated for sure.
So the extra chapter, that's the special edition?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when she wrote the bonus chapter. It's like a golden cover of the book.
Interesting.
It's about 35 pages, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to go on Reddit about it.
Yeah, you should.
But it does have a familiar feeling to it.
Right?
Yeah,
Reva
I can't
has even
shake it.
talked to her mom about it. Like she's told her mom a small snippet of it, and she's asked her, like, do you remember this from somewhere? She's like, no, I don't know anything about a story like this. But when you read it, you feel like, oh, I know this.
Interesting. Yeah, because while you're saying it, I was like, even though I couldn't guess where it was gonna go, I was like, wait, but why is it sounding like I've, heard this before?
Yeah.
It's like a deja vu feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe it's just like one of those books where it kind of goes into your psyche a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think all three of them are fucked up. What if all of them are fucked up? Like, what if Verity actually meant what she wrote in the manuscript, and Jeremy read it and like killed her?
Yeah.
Like, what if they're both villains?
That is a very real possibility.
Yeah,
because we don't know, right? If the manuscript is the truth, or if the letter is the truth, or if she wrote the letter to cover her tracks, we don't know.
Yeah, because it seems like Jeremy might be into like kind of crazy, like crazy women.
Yeah,
because he or he's into writers who write about this kind of genre and stuff.
But then he doesn't read their books. He didn't read Verity's books. Now that Lowen is writing the series, he's not reading Lowen's books.
But it's suspected that while he was at that dinner with Verity, he was reading another woman's books.
Yeah.
So if he was reading
Lowen's
books, and then now while he's with Lowen, he's reading another person's book. If we got a clue about whose book he was reading, then maybe there's like a thread going through. Like maybe he's just into that. That also doesn't like give us anything. It just says both of them are just kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I hope she got her money. She's no longer poor, right?
Oh yeah, she got her money.
That's good.
And then Verity's plan was to transfer that money into her account so that she can run away with Crew.
Oh.
But that never happened.
Yeah. Ugh. This is crazy. All right, let's end it.
Yeah, if this book haunts you, don't blame me.
Yeah. If this episode piques your interest and you want more details, then pick up the book and read it. See you in the next episode.